At 79, I learned something deeply painful. The day your children begin looking at your home with concern, something silently changes in their eyes. And once that perception changes, everything slowly begins changing with it. My name is Elizabeth Jane. I'm 79 years old, and last month my daughter walked into my house, looked around quietly for a few seconds, then said a sentence many older people fear far more than they admit. "Mom, I think we need to talk about the house." In that exact moment, I understood what she was really thinking. She no longer saw a home filled with memories. She saw an older woman who might not be able to manage alone anymore. And the hardest part was this. A small part of me knew she wasn't entirely wrong, because over the years I had slowly started accumulating things everywhere. Boxes I never opened, stacks of papers, broken objects I kept just in case. And without realizing it, my home had started telling a dangerous story. Not the story of a woman living freely, the story of a woman becoming overwhelmed. And this is exactly where many older adults quietly begin losing control of their own life. Not because of illness, not overnight, but because their environment slowly gives others a reason to believe they can no longer manage on their own. Today, I want to share the 5 things I finally got rid of to protect something far more valuable than objects, my independence. And the last one is probably the thing that changes the way children look at their parents the most, without parents even realizing it. Before we go further, if you believe protecting your independence after 70 is one of the most important things in life, please like the video, because many people realize too late what they were slowly losing. The day my daughter came over, she barely said anything at first, but her eyes said everything. She looked slowly at the piles of newspapers beside my chair, the boxes in the guest room, the step stool in the kitchen because I could no longer reach certain cabinets comfortably. And the more she looked around, the smaller I began feeling inside my own home. Then she sat down at the table and used that soft voice people use when they think you are becoming fragile. "Don't you think somewhere smaller might be easier for you now?" Easier. That's the word they use now. Not assisted living, not retirement home, just easier. And something tightened in my chest immediately, because this house was never just walls. It was my entire life. Christmas mornings, Sunday dinners, my husband's chair near the window, the pencil marks from my children on the hallway wall. But that night, when I looked around honestly for the first time, I saw what she saw: a heavy house, a tired woman. And this is the moment many people never see coming. The moment their children quietly begin wondering whether they are still capable of living independently. That realization terrified me because I understood something instantly. If I didn't take control now, eventually someone else would do it for me. So I tried to get organized like everyone does. I bought storage bins, baskets, labels. I thought organizing would solve everything. But somehow the house felt even more crowded afterward because the real problem wasn't organization. The real problem was what I refused to let go of. And almost nobody talks honestly about this part of aging. After 70, many people are not holding on to objects. They are holding on to pieces of their life. I opened one box filled with my husband's sweaters. I had kept them after he passed away because I couldn't bear to look at them, even less throw them away. Then I picked one up and held it in my hands. And suddenly I had this terrible thought. If I let this go Am I letting go of him too? That's why this becomes so emotionally difficult. Objects slowly become emotions. Objects become people. Objects become the past itself. But at the same time, they can quietly begin suffocating the present. And this is exactly where many older adults become trapped without realizing it. I also found clothes I had kept for someday, sizes I would probably never wear again, dresses for occasions that might never happen anymore. And once again, I realized something painful. Some objects don't just take up space inside a house. They take up space inside your mind because every day they quietly remind you of a version of yourself that no longer exists. And if you're still here, please like the video and subscribe, because many older adults don't realize they are slowly losing freedom until the people around them begin noticing it first. Then I made an even bigger mistake. I asked my children for their opinion. I thought they would understand the emotional value behind these things, but they mostly saw evidence of disorder. I showed them my husband's tools. They saw unused clutter. I talked about the beautiful dinner set I had saved for decades. They saw cabinets overflowing with things nobody touched anymore. And in that moment, I felt something deeply painful inside. My children were no longer looking at my home through my eyes. They were looking at it like a test, proof of what I could still manage or couldn't. And after a certain age, this is exactly how people's perception of you begins changing, slowly, silently. They don't want to hurt you, they want to help. But sometimes that help quietly becomes the beginning of losing your freedom. So one morning, I stopped overthinking everything. I walked into that room filled with boxes and looked at everything honestly for the first time in years. Then I asked myself a different question. Not, did this matter in my life, but does this still improve my life today? And that question changed everything. I donated clothes, threw away broken appliances, kept only the things that still had a meaningful place in my present life. And something incredible happened. The lighter my house became, the lighter I started feeling too. I breathed easier, I moved easier, my mind felt calmer, and most importantly, my home started looking like the home of a woman still capable of managing her own life. A few weeks later, my daughter came back. She looked around quietly again. Then she said something I will never forget. "Mom, this feels so much easier now." But this time, that word didn't hurt me, because this time, easier meant something different. It meant you're still handling things. So remember this carefully. After 70, the real danger is not just clutter. The real danger begins when your belongings start giving other people a reason to believe you can no longer live independently. Growing older does not mean giving up control of your life, but sometimes it does require letting go of certain things in order to protect what matters most, your freedom. And if this video spoke to you, subscribe now, because the next video may help you protect something even more valuable than memories, your independence. And never forget this. After a certain age, the real luxury is no longer owning more things. The real luxury is still being able to control your own life. I'm Elizabeth Jane, and I'll see you in the next.